Hi everyone. Has home insurance been driving you absolutely crazy? With rates going up and coverages changing, my home insurance policy coverage is just really confusing, and especially when they make changes. So today, I am so excited to have an industry expert join me to talk about home insurance. I'll be doing a deep dive into home insurance policies and asking questions that a lot of us have on our minds, and some questions that you may not even think about, but you probably should as you start reviewing your policies or start looking for a new policy. Let's face it, insurance is supposed to be for peace of mind, to protect us in case anything catastrophic happens. The reality is, when it hits our pocketbooks again and again, people start questioning, what are we paying for? Let's deep dive into home insurance and join me with my special guest. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for this video. The original video was extremely long because Jonathan just had so much knowledge and so much information that I needed to just section them off into parts. So wait for our next ones. And until then, thanks a bunch for joining us. And I hope it helped you answer some of your questions regarding your home insurance. Thanks. Take care. Bye. So insurance rates across the board are rising. Coverages are changing left and right, okay? Are any of the events that we're hearing about, the fires in California, the Florida, hurricanes, the flooding in all these other places, do they affect rates in Arizona?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Okay. The basic answer is insurance is always pooled risk. It's pooled locally, but it's also pooled nationally for the carriers that operate nationally.
Okay.
So when something like the hurricanes that happen, the flooding in Florida, you got North Carolina, Tennessee, then you had the fires in Florida, California. You get fires annually here in Arizona. Yeah. Across the nation, there's fires and disasters and hurricanes. And so what happens in those circumstances is there's going to be a more impact on rate locally, but they can't absorb all of that.
Okay.
Right? So it has to be spread out across the whole nation.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But how impactful are they? Like, there's fires. Let's say there's fires. I think going on if I'm not mistaken, Prescott right now, or we always hear of these northern Arizona fires, right? How impactful are they to folks like us here in Chandler because we're landlocked? Yeah,
they plan. Insurance carriers typically plan for these types of things. The big occurrences, we typically don't see huge occurrences here, right? Okay. But the big occurrences in the South or with the hurricanes and things like that, they plan for a certain amount of losses. That's why they have reinsurance. But at some point, if there's too many of those types of losses or things like that, then it could have impact on premium, on rates.
Gotcha.
When we're talking about Prescott, Flagstaff, Payson, the northern Arizona as we call it, those are very hard areas. People that have homes up there, they're going to pay higher rates because there's much more risk. Rates are based off of risk. Okay. And so the lower the risk, the lower the rate. The higher the risk, the higher the rate. Wow. And so Prescott, that whole area up there, Prescott, Flagstaff, Payson, all of that, it's very difficult for us as insurance agents in those areas because a lot of carriers are pulling out.
Yes.
They're limiting coverages.
Yes.
So it's become very difficult for agents to help people find policies up there.
Okay.
Because of the high risk of the fire.
Okay.
So it's going to directly, to answer your question, it's going to directly impact them more because they're in a higher risk area. But it is spread out throughout the whole state. But they do plan for because every year we have fires. It's not a surprise.
Right. So. Right. And I think one of the most impactful things when it comes to loss of coverage are folks that are requiring, or not requiring, but are folks that are required to have coverage.
Yeah.
So
generally speaking, over all the insurances, an insurance score. If an insurance score changes, insurance score is something that calculates credit. It calculates loss history. It calculates length of insurance history. There's over 100 factors in the insurance score. Okay. And so if that changes, that can have an effect on rates. So if my credit gets worse, my rates could see an impact from that.
Oh, okay.
If I file too many claims, my of course it's going to hit you on the claims side of things, but it's also going to hit you on the insurance score.
Does it matter what level of claim? Like if it's a minor claim, to your point, like a broken window versus a flooding of an entire house. Does it matter?
So yes and no. The type of claim has an impact. Like we said, water losses. Yeah. Insurance carriers do not like to see water losses on home insurance. And I know sometimes it's unavoidable, but there are certain things that you can put in place, and we can talk about those later, to prevent water claims or reduce the amount of water claims and things like that. Just go, the other things that we don't think about is the age of the home. As the home gets older, there's more risk of things going wrong.
Okay.
Because home systems age. That's another part of the home system. So when I say home systems, I'm talking about the roof, I'm talking about the HVAC, I'm talking about electrical, plumbing, water heater, things like that, right? So as those get older, there's more risk that something goes wrong to cause a claim.
Okay, so that leads me to kind of a hot topic here. Okay, if I've replaced, or if people are replacing those outdated or aged out units, right? Should we be contacting? Okay, I didn't know that.
So keep the receipts.
Okay.
And contact your agent. Like I've had people who have completely replaced the roof.
Yes.
And their current policy, says that there's a 28-year-old, 30-year-old roof. If they completely replace the roof, that's a brand new roof.
Wow.
That's a big discount on your policy.
I did not know that. Okay, thank you.
It reduces the risk on the home policy.
Okay, and even as, like you said, minor things, to me, a water heater is minor.
But that could be a big loss.
Okay.
It could be a big water loss.
That's
and so,
fantastic.
And speaking of water, I'm not a plumber, but water heaters, we should be flushing those once a year to cause the buildup.
The sediment.
That could cause them to blow up or explode or fail.
It's happened twice.